Welcome to our channel. Today, we delve into a pivotal yet controversial episode in South Asian history, the Anglo-Nepalese War. This conflict, fought between the Kingdom of Nepal and the British East India Company from 1814 to 1816, has left a legacy filled with debates and differing perspectives. Now, over 200 years on, people are still arguing about what happened and why. Join me as we try to unpack this fascinating and complex period. Here are the top 8 controversial aspects of the Anglo-Nepalese War that remain hotly debated even today. The seeds of conflict between Nepal and British India were sown long before the first shot was fired. Nepal, under the Shah dynasty, had grown into a formidable power in the Himalayas. The Gurkha army, renowned for its ferocity and skill in mountain warfare, had carved out a sizable kingdom. British officers of the company, with its insatiable appetite for territory and resources, viewed Nepal's rise with suspicion. They saw the Gurkhas as obstacles to their ambitions, a proud and independent people standing in the way of their imperial ambitions. Nepalese general. From the Nepalese perspective, the British were encroaching on our hard-won territories, meddling in our affairs, and treating us as inferiors. Border disputes, fueled by misunderstandings and provocations on both sides, escalated tensions. Was the Anglo-Nepalese War an inevitable clash between two expanding powers, each convinced of their right to dominate the region? Or was it a deliberate act of British aggression? British officer. Driven by profit and a sense of imperial destiny, they saw India as a land ripe for exploitation. Nepalese general, we saw the British as a threat to our sovereignty and way of life. The Treaty of Sugauli, signed in 1816, ended the Anglo-Nepalese War. It was a peace dictated by the victors, a bitter pill for the defeated Nepalese. The treaty stripped Nepal of a third of its territory, including Kumaon, Garhwal, and the Terai lowlands. For the British, it was a triumph, confirming their dominance. But for the Nepalese, it was a humiliation, a symbol of their defeat. The treaty weakened Nepal's central government, sowing seeds of instability. The war and its aftermath profoundly impacted Nepal-British-India relations. The Gurkha army, once formidable, was now recruited into the British Indian Army. The British East India Company, despite its military might, could not have won the Anglo-Nepalese War without the support of local allies. The British, masters of divide and rule, exploited existing tensions and rivalries within the Himalayan region. They promised local rulers autonomy, protection, and a share of the spoils of war in exchange for their support against Nepal. One notable example is the Chogyal of Sikkim, who saw an alliance with the British as a way to regain territory lost to Nepal. These alliances, however, were not without their critics. Some accused the local rulers of betraying their fellow Himalayan kingdoms, of siding with a foreign power against their own people. The role of local allies in the Anglo-Nepalese War raises important questions about the nature of colonialism, the ethics of alliances, and the complexities of power dynamics. Historian, were these alliances a pragmatic necessity for the British, or did they represent an insidious form of exploitation? The story of the Anglo-Nepalese War is not just a story of two armies clashing on a battlefield. The Anglo-Nepalese War was fought in some of the most challenging terrain imaginable. The Himalayas formed a dramatic backdrop to a conflict characterized by both bravery and brutality.
Both sides faced immense logistical challenges. Disease, terrain, and weather often proved more formidable than the enemy.
The Gurkha soldiers fought with tenacity and courage, earning the respect of their British adversaries.
The British possessed superior firepower and resources. They employed cannons, rockets, and mortars to devastating effect.
The siege of Nalapani, led by Captain Balbhadra Kunwar, stands out as a harrowing example.
We, the Gurkha defenders, refused to surrender.
When the fort fell, only a handful of defenders remained alive.
The Anglo-Nepalese War serves as a reminder of the profound impact on those who fight.
Their bravery, tenacity, and martial skill deeply impressed their British adversaries. The Anglo-Nepalese War marked a turning point in the way the world viewed the Gurkhas.
British accounts praised us for our fighting spirit, loyalty, and stoicism.
This image of the fearless and loyal Gurkha shaped perceptions for generations.
Known for our kukri knives and bravery, we became integral to the British Indian Army.
But this romanticized image often overlooked the complex realities of their situation.
Many enlisted out of economic necessity, seeking to support our families.
The legacy of the Gurkhas is a testament to their courage and resilience.
The Anglo-Nepalese War, like all wars, was not just a conflict between armies. It was a human tragedy that profoundly impacted the lives of ordinary people living in the war-torn regions.
Villages located along the war's path were often caught in the crossfire. Homes were destroyed, fields were trampled, and livelihoods were disrupted.
The war also led to widespread food shortages. The movement of armies, the disruption of trade, and the destruction of crops created a humanitarian crisis.
Women, as in many conflicts, bore a disproportionate share of the suffering. They lost husbands, fathers, and sons to the war.
The war's impact on children was particularly devastating. Many were orphaned or separated from their families.
The stories of these individuals, though rarely documented in official records, provide a glimpse into the human face of the Anglo-Nepalese War.
The war also had a lasting impact on the social fabric of the region.
The Anglo-Nepalese War marked a turning point in Nepal's history. The once powerful kingdom, its expansion abruptly halted, was forced to come to terms with its diminished status and the loss of a third of its territory.
The immediate aftermath of the war was a period of instability and uncertainty. The loss of territory, particularly the fertile Terai region, had a devastating impact on Nepal's economy.
The war also had a profound impact on Nepal's political landscape. The Shah dynasty, weakened by the defeat, faced internal challenges to its authority.
The Rana regime, though often criticized for its authoritarianism and its suppression of dissent, also oversaw a period of relative stability and modernization.
However, this progress came at a cost. The Rana regime was deeply conservative, resistant to social and political reforms that would empower ordinary Nepalese.
The war's impact on Nepal's national identity is also complex.
The Anglo-Nepalese War, though a defeat for Nepal in a purely military sense, ultimately had a mixed legacy.
The war also had a lasting impact on the relationship between Nepal and British India.
The Anglo-Nepalese War, like all historical events, is not a simple story with a single definitive interpretation.
British accounts of the war, often written from an imperial perspective, tend to emphasize British military successes, strategic brilliance, and the perceived barbarity of their Gurkha opponents.
Nepalese narratives, on the other hand, focus on the bravery and resilience of their soldiers, the injustices of the Treaty of Sugauli, and the determination to resist foreign domination.
These differing perspectives are not merely academic. They have real-world implications, shaping national identities, influencing foreign policy, and fueling ongoing debates about historical memory and reconciliation.
The search for a balanced and accurate history of the Anglo-Nepalese War requires moving beyond simplistic narratives of heroes and villains.
It is also essential to recognize the role of power dynamics in shaping historical narratives.
The Anglo-Nepalese War, though fought over 2 centuries ago, continues to resonate today.
By engaging with diverse perspectives and challenging dominant narratives, we can gain a more complete and nuanced understanding of the past.
It is through this process of critical engagement that we can move closer to a shared understanding of history.
The Anglo-Nepalese War was a defining moment in the history of Nepal and British India, with its legacy still sparking debates and discussions today. From the motives behind the war to the controversial Treaty of Sugauli, the role of local allies, the conduct of the war, the representation of the Gurkhas, the impact on local populations, the long-term consequences, and the differing historical narratives. Each aspect offers a window into the complexities of this conflict. As we reflect on these controversies, it is essential to remember that history is not just a series of events, but a tapestry woven from multiple perspectives and experiences. Understanding these diverse viewpoints helps us gain a deeper appreciation of our shared past. Thank you for watching. If you found this video insightful, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more historical explorations. Don't forget to hit the bell icon to stay updated with our latest content. See you in the next video.